Lakers and Blazers because it's on a different channel, and Daddy and I have to sync up our TVs before we start here. We're a little limited in being able to do the end of the other game. But let's talk a little bit about this one. The big news, of course, Hassan Whiteside replacing Wenyen Gabriel in the starting lineup for the Blazers.
Yeah, and it's pretty remarkable that a week after Hassan Whiteside got played off the floor against the Memphis Grizzlies, he is now starting against the number one seed in the Western Conference. And we'll see what happens there. We'll see if the Lakers can play him off floor. Some of that is Zach Collins being unavailable for the rest of the season due to that stress reaction. And I'm interested to see if they can bring Hassan Whiteside out onto the floor, if they can try to get him in circumstances, or if he's just going to hang out around the basket.
Yeah, I like the move for the Blazers because you know that the Lakers are going to start with two bigs. So you can line up your two big lineup that you basically have to get some minutes out of that group with how many injuries they have. So get it against their two bigs rather than when it's going to be more difficult if they go with AD at center. The other news, of course, Damian Lillard. You can see him kind of a little ginger with that dislocated index finger on his left hand. He's got that taped up with his middle finger. Hopefully won't affect him too much. Hopefully only on maybe left-handed finishes around the rim. Presumably he's found a way to manage that pain. We were getting some looks at him. Looks like he's shooting it fine here in the pregame work. So the difference for the Lakers in Game 2 was playing harder, executing better, but their three-point shooting, of course, remains a concern.
Yeah, that's absolutely going to be something to watch here. But we have action.
Yeah, who gets to take the tip between Whiteside and Nurkic? Big drama here. It's going to be Whiteside. And you imagine that Nurkic will have the matchup against Anthony Davis, and Whiteside will be on JaVale McGee, and vice versa. Portland controls the tip. Let's see what they've got here to start off. Carmelo handing off to Nurkic, and now they're looking to get McCollum involved. He's struggled so far in the series. Lillard sprinting hard off a screen. Danny Green stays with him. KCP helping nicely. Deep three from McCollum is off. That's a nice possession from KCP in particular. He bothered Lillard and still got back to contest the McCollum jumper. Now this matchup of Carmelo against LeBron is something that you'd expect LeBron could exploit. Carmelo really struggles getting through a screen. McGee along the baseline where he's had some nice cuts. Here's the drive from LeBron right down the lane on Whiteside. Whiteside with the stop. Whiteside has really flummoxed LeBron in this series.
Yeah, and just having that extra size on the interior has made a real difference.
And then LeBron just sauntering back in transition, guarding nobody, and lucky that Melo missed that three. KCP given the lane against Carmelo. Why doesn't he just drive it to the right baseline? He's wide open. He could blow right by him. Now LeBron back to goal against McCollum. Nurkic almost had the steal. AD, nice defense there from Nurkic. Green is going to have to fire. Way off. Good defense from the Blazers these first two possessions. I thought the KCP record scratch there is here's a little pick and roll. Nurkic swings it, and LeBron is all over that pass. You got to throw that pass harder. And then what is LeBron doing? Why would he outlet the ball to JaVale McGee? That is on LeBron right there.
Absolutely.
JaVale McGee should have no expectation of receiving an outlet at his own free throw line.
You want your big to run the floor there. That is his job. Like, did LeBron think it was somebody else there?
Keeping you up to date, James Harden is fouled out for the Rockets in the other game. Here's Nurkic. Leaves it for Whiteside. Good defense in the 2-on-1 by McGee, but Whiteside with the pirouetting hook shot to draw first blood for the Blazers. AD bringing the ball up here. This is some old school bully ball with these lineups out here right now. A throwback to when LeBron and Carmelo were both natural threes. Here's Davis one-on-one against McCollum. Has to take another deep three. Lakers offense completely stuck in the mud. But did McCollum foul him? Not a good foul at all there.
I didn't see much contact there. I'm not sure you want to review because we have this, like, we each have second screens going. I didn't see much there, but we'll.
Yeah, he gets him on that right leg. I don't think he stuck the right leg out. Hey, might have slightly, but probably not enough to be an offensive foul there.
But yeah, I mean, even with these free throws, the Lakers offense has looked terrible in this early going.
Yeah, so the move for Stotts paying off. This is where Portland, of course, is the most comfortable, is protecting the rim, forcing you to shoot a poor percentage at the rim. One more throw coming here for AD. AD had really struggled in the bubble, but then broke out with 31 points in 29 minutes, but missed a couple of free throws there, and Portland retains the lead. Lillard gets the high screen from Nurkic. Tried the pocket pass. That's actually, to me, the one play where Damian Lillard needs to improve is on that pocket pass.
Yeah, it's timing and getting the angle right. I mean, we've seen Harden and Luka really do some damage there.
Carmelo one-on-one against Green. Goes to the fadeaway over Green, and AD with the rebound. Not a good shot there for the Blazers. Here's LeBron in transition. They got more in transition in game 2, and that's really what's going to determine, I think, a lot of the Lakers' offensive fortunes, not only in this game, but in these playoffs. A very average half-court offensive team. Lillard got past his man, but then was flummoxed by Davis. Lillard looking a little uncomfortable early, as is pretty much everyone here. And now Davis right down again at transition. No foul called, it looks like. Good verticality once more from the Blazers. Combination of Nurkic and Whiteside.
And Lillard there, he got caught in the air. I think he jumped up thinking he might take a floater or giant killer over AD, and then there was no one to pass it to, so that's how the turnover happened.
Yeah, that could have been a foul on Lillard reaching in
I
on
agree.
Davis. Oh, and it is going to be free throws, in fact,
Okay.
for Davis. My apologies. Davis with a couple more free throws. And he's been broke from the line all of a sudden here. So, yeah, I think if you're Portland, they're going to be very tempted to go to the offensive glass with this group. Nurkic and Whiteside both do that naturally. They're both excellent offensive rebounders. But the question becomes, if they don't get the offensive rebound, then LA is going to try and run it down their throats. Here's Lillard stepping back on KCP, and he gets the bounce. That wasn't quite as ridiculous as the one in the Dallas game, but pretty close. KCP, nice little flare screen action. That's one way, that flare screen action, that you can take advantage of two bigs hanging back in the paint. We saw Orlando actually do that earlier today against Milwaukee. Here's McCollum with the extension for the finish. What a move.
Yeah, and there Davis was kind of tagging Nurkic on the opposite corner, so he wasn't there to affect the drive. McGee was there, but just couldn't get quite to the extendo.
Yeah, you see the score. OKC is going to take care of Houston. It's looking like up 15 after the Harden foul out. Houston has not scored in overtime. Here's LeBron, bothered from behind by Melo, who gets the steal. Here come the Blazers. Lillard pulls up. Oh, yeah. Here we go, Danny. 10-3 Portland, and the Lakers offense 3 points in 4 minutes, not looking good at all.
And we can take your questions on whatever platform you're using. If you're on YouTube, if you're on Twitch, if you're on Periscope, or you can send them on Twitter using the hashtag NBAcast.
Yeah, I want you to take a couple of questions right here. I'm going to just grab something to drink. I didn't have a chance because I was watching the end of the other game.
Oh, that's a good question. Is there a way you can delay the Twitter stream? That's something Ben can look into. Yeah, we might want to tone that down because I think we're pretty far behind again. We will look into that. Thoughts on starting Whiteside? Nate and I got into it at the very beginning, though totally justified if people hadn't seen the stream yet or anything else. But basically, that is a time that we know the Lakers are going to have two bigs on the floor, and considering how short-handed the Blazers are when it comes to forwards, I think it's a reasonable idea, and we've really seen Hassan Whiteside give LeBron some trouble. So I'm stunned that I'm as okay with it as I am, but yeah, I think it's the right call. What can the Sixers do moving forward? It's a real challenge. It's actually so when Nate and I did the combination Patreon mailbag and the first Dunked on Prime mailbag, we actually spent a long time on this, longer than I'm going to spend on it right now. And the big challenge is that all of their players that they're interested in moving, not all their players, but all the players they're interested in moving, are negative value contracts. So, are they willing to give up a good player to do that? Are they hoping that maybe somebody has like an interest in Tobias Harris? It is a very real challenge because you could say like the most logical player in many ways to dump is Al Horford because he's been marginalized, but good luck trying to find somebody who wants him at that price. So I think they're really stuck, and I think that's the underrated part of. I mean, there's the asset management part of how the post Hinkie front offices have screwed up for the Sixers. But then the other part is how they're so committed to this group, and they've also been totally burned by the cap, likely going below what we expected. Why do some people love Whiteside? That's an excellent question. I've never really been on board with him. He's a very much a counting stats guy. I mean, lots of blocks, lots of rebounds, but especially like with Whiteside, off the top of my head, I don't remember his teams being particularly better at rebounding when he's on the floor. Like there have been some disparities over the course of his career, and he has good physical tools. I can see why some people do, but yeah, I'm not the biggest fan.
Yeah, and I think he was really before he got the new contract. I thought particularly in their series in 2016, he was pretty good, and he definitely puts up a ton of points and rebounds. So anybody who's like a fantasy player is super enamored with him, shall we say? So but now he can make an impact if he's right there at the rim. He'll have good days and bad. I think that's part of it too, depending on his overall level of motivation. But that's a little bit of a concern. I mean, I guess he's going for a new contract now. Maybe he's more motivated. But he's probably like the 30th best center in the NBA, 35th best center in the NBA. But he leads the league in blocks, so a lot of people concentrate on that. And I think he's not actually as an impactful defender as he was, 3-4 years ago. Here's AD coming off the cross screen out of the timeout. Green on the drive goes to the floater, and it drops in. But the Blazers will take that shot, I think.
Yeah, and especially if it comes off a Danny Green drive. I mean, that's not a big problem.
Let's see what they're going to run out of there. ATO Lillard. As Melo switches sides of the floor, he sets the screen for Nurkic. Now Lillard, yeah, the pocket pass got stopped again. And let's see if Davis actually moves his right foot here. They're saying, hey, no, this shouldn't be a kickball. Yeah, Davis actually did move his foot into the ball that time, so better call. A lot of those, it seems like the guy's leg is stationary. Get it in to Lillard again. Same play on the other side. Lillard attacking Davis, gets by him into the lane, flips it up. Oh, it just curled out, and then Whiteside just absolutely collars JaVale McGee.
Yeah, Whiteside had no chance at that offensive rebound and just basically tries to go through JaVale McGee. That's a terrible foul.
Yeah, Lillard just had to shoot that right hand, right foot. Yeah, not close there for Whiteside.
Like, if all he did was go up there and just try to tip it, put a hand up and try to knock the ball out, maybe, but you can't jump through a dude.
So I would still like to see more for the Blazers of Gary Trent in place of Whiteside, and Whiteside looks to have got a little Charlie horse, and I think this is going to be Trent coming in here. No, it's actually Wendy and Gabriel. That's interesting. Is that 2 on Whiteside? And there's the pick and roll, and Lillard was on the backside as the help guy that time off of Danny Green, and he just did not get there quite quickly enough. Great, perfect window pass there from LeBron. That's how you can make some hay with the limited spacing that they have. Now
and that was Whiteside's second.
McCollum stepping back on JaVale McGee. And that's an example. It looked like a decent contest for McGee, but you can get the shot off on him if you are CJ McCollum, and you can step into it in a comfortable way. Here's LeBron going right at Gabriel through his body for the foul. Obvious one there.
Yeah, Gabriel kind of jumped into LeBron, and it was hip-to-hip contact more than it was at top, but completely the right call. But yeah, I don't know if you heard me. Two fouls on Whiteside, so presumably that's the reason he came out.
Yeah,
but maybe the Charlie horse if that's.
Yeah, that would seem to be the case. So yeah, I was starting to say though, as the Lakers continue to brick free throws left and right, I'd like to see, especially with this unit, there was a thought of we'll get Whiteside and Nurkic out there. We got to have some minutes with that group, but why not go hard here with Gary Trent and your 5 best guys to start the game? Like give the absolute largest number of minutes with your best 5-man unit out there. McCollum off the flare screen on the weak side. He's open over Danny Green. That's some old school Terry Stotts stuff. The league had largely caught up to those sort of plays, those like wheel flare screen plays, but they break it out every once in a while after a timeout. Now LeBron double teamed by Nurkic, and you're going to get Carmelo here with the shove.
Well, and the other part of the challenge when you don't start your 5 best guys is that the 5th guy, especially when it's a younger player like Gary Trent, it's not a situation like, let's say, Iguodala, where he can't play that many minutes, is that you can't get that much time on the floor. We're 6 minutes in. Gary Trent hasn't played. So and if you do that at the beginning of the second half too, then that's a whole full 12 minutes of the game that he can't play. And then if you're going to play him the rest of it, which is very possible, then he's going to be more tired. It's just it's at least they have a decent enough player to kind of make it work, but it just seems so unreasonable.
LeBron working on the second free throw, and they finally hit a few here. Nurkic swings it around to CJ. They want to screen away for Lillard. A little bit of an advantage. They have to pull it way deep. Oh, man. Damian Lillard's got it tonight, Danny.
Yeah.
I mean, that's your big man has got his heels on the three-point line, and he still jacks it over him. AD passing up that three-pointer. Swings it to Green. Too much help there off the strong side corner. 18-13 Portland.
Yeah, give up a wide open Danny Green corner when Davis is going and there's help at the rim.
Good pass there from Davis, though.
Yeah.
Nurkic on the pick and pop. Tries to go right back. Did not succeed. Now here's LeBron. Gets it to Green. Steps in for the 2-pointer. I'd like him to just sidestep to the 3 there instead. Tipped out to Melo. He gets Nurkic. Nurkic, great job running the floor. He beat McGee down floor. McGee just jogged back. Nurkic beat him by half a court.
And even Danny Green transition defense couldn't stop it.
Now AD wants to eat in this matchup against Gabriel. Goes through the arm of the rookie. Gabriel, his first career start was game 1 of the playoffs against the Lakers.
Yeah, and now he has 2 fouls. And remember, now that's 2 different players that Terry Stotts has played instead of Gary Trent. Now, it's true that they have the lead in this game, but we'll try to think about that later on. It could potentially be a challenge. And remember, both those guys now have 2 fouls as well.
Yeah, this AD is going to be 7 free throw attempts for him. LeBron already has 4. So Blazers are going to have to stop fouling here.
And Gary Trent not coming in for Wenyen Gabriel. He's coming in for Melo. So keeping Gabriel on the floor despite 2 fouls, unless I have this wrong and one of those was given to somebody else, but they seem both pretty clear Gabriel
Yeah,
fouls.
no. Yeah, he fouled LeBron and then he fouled AD just then. So those are the 2. Hazonia is in as well, so they'll go to more of a stretch look now, and with Kyle Kuzma coming in for JaVale McGee. Maybe the idea is just to bait the Lakers into playing their worst lineups instead of playing your own best lineups. Lillard double teamed. Hazonia not at the 3-point line, tries to go at Kuzma and scores on him. One of the few plays we've seen Kuzma's defense not be up to snuff here in the bubble where he's really improved. Caruso, the Blazers have no idea who they are guarding. Green on the drive. Left-handed pass. AD is not really spaced out, and he loses it. Kuzma. Whoa, that is out there. A little early for that. There was 12 on the shot clock. And then a terrible pass from McCollum. It has been ragged.
And another one of those very low opportunity. I guess theoretically, if Trent had somehow gotten that ball, he could have turned around and gotten a layup.
Yeah.
But like, if you're gonna throw a 3/4 court pass, it better be for a layup or a dunk.
Yeah, low upside is the term there, I think.
Yes.
So Lakers only 4 3-point attempts so far, but they have done it at the foul line. AD against Nurkic. Hazonia coming over, way strong side. Kuzma not a threat there. Now here's the drive from AD. Goes baseline, but he blew the layup. Blazers looking to push it. KCP is behind Lillard. Let's see what he can do with it. goes to the drive, into 3 guys, misses, but a foul is called. And it all started just that first step from Damian Lillard. KCP went for a steal on the outlet pass and was out of the play.
Yeah, I actually thought Lillard was going to pull that, but it gets to the line for 2. And so it was already a formality before, but it is a final in the other game. Oklahoma City won by 12 points. I think Houston only got 3 points in overtime. And so there will be a Game 5 in that series, just like there will be a Game 5 in this series. And obviously, if the Blazers win this one, I was going to say if the Blazers win this one, they'll definitely be 6, but theoretically, the Blazers could win in 5.
Is there a way I can delay the Twitch stream? I was just switching over to YouTube, which has a pause button. That's the best way to do that.
Yeah, if we are ahead of you, you should probably be on YouTube. If you are ahead of us, you'll need to slow it down on your end.
But we tried to give you guys plenty of delay today. Here's Caruso back to goal against Lillard. Not a threat to shoot it off the pick and roll. AD, again, the spacing just not there because Caruso not a threat to shoot, so you can go under on him and gum up that whole operation.
And this Lakers lineup just has so little ball handling and passing in it, and I think we're seeing them stall out for that reason.
Yeah, Rajon Rondo was supposed to come back today, but then back spasms felled him in warm-ups. Here's Trent over AD. That's a little ambitious for Trent. Now AD, watch him. Whenever he contests, KCP with the huge dunk. And it looks like Lillard got hit in the midsection there on that dunk. But AD, when he challenges a jump shot, he's going to sprint the floor. You got to be ready for that. Lillard against Caruso. I think they should try to ISO here against Caruso. That's not what I had in mind, though. He needs to get a little more of a running start than that. Here is KCP. Missing it. Tipped out by Kuzma to no avail. This is where Lillard's dangerous in the semi-transition. Finding Nurkic. He'll drive it on Kuzma. Hazonia, record scratches. Now he'll take the 3 and miss it. He should have just taken that shot. He had no awareness. He pass faked.
He looked for the pass when his teammate was covered and he was open.
Back to goal for Markieff Morris. He swings it out to AD. Caruso's 3 off the ball movement is off. Lakers, again, can't make him pay with the jump shots, and looks like we're going to get a timeout here from Stotts. Interesting, because I thought that they had a fast break there.
Yeah. So the advanced stats so far in this game, Portland 114 offensive rating, the Lakers 81, 45% true shooting for the Lakers, 67% for the Blazers. And let's tell people about bookies.com. And part of the reason I want to do that is because Adam Thompson has been on fire, and this is how you know an expert is on fire. He picked the Rockets Thunder over. It required overtime to cash, but it did. So I mean, that's when somebody's making 69% of their picks, you got to give them some deference there, and made that work. And that's really why it's a natural partner for us, is that bookies.com is about information, which is what you and I are about as well.
Yeah, for example, if you were on bookies.com, you could have seen with their live updating odds that Utah was a massive underdog in their series after losing game 1 to Denver. We were still pretty high on their chances. If you had wanted to, you could have maybe used that information to make a little bit of money. We don't necessarily look at that, but bookies.com can give you the information depending on how you feel about the series to find the best deals. And also follow them at Bookies on Twitter.
Now let's get to some of your questions. Oh God, how many possessions of Lou Dort against OG Anunoby one-on-one would it take for somebody to score? I mean, and assuming they're calling their own fouls, it would take, I don't know, a few minutes at least. That would be fun.
Yeah, I mean, Lou Dort has been pretty good. We'll see how he looks against someone who's not Harden. He's a perfect matchup for Harden because Harden just really, as I've mentioned before, he's almost becoming like this caricature of himself where either, he can't really do anything off the ball. He's so reliant on strength to get to the basket. And if you can guard the step back well enough, part of why Dort is so successful against him is because Harden uses really more strength than quickness to get that step back, and Dort isn't going to get knocked backwards by him due to his own great strength. But we'll see how he does again in some other matchups. But certainly there's a a bright future ahead of him if he could actually make a shot sometime. Let's do this one from Reynaldo Oreo using the hashtag NBAcast on Twitter. Who would you give rotation minutes for the Celtics in their upcoming matchup against the Raptors now that Hayward isn't available? And he mentions Semi Ojeleye, Romeo Langford, Brad Wanamaker, or other.
Langford, Wanamaker, Grant Williams is I think how I would fill that gap. And you can go a couple different directions though. And that's why Stevens, those guys aren't amazing, but at least they're capable. And I like how Stevens has used Langford as a defender at specific moments in time. And Ojeleye, I think you and I like him more. I wonder who who his strength is most useful against the Raptors though. I don't think it just might not be.
Siakam, I guess.
Maybe.
Yeah, I'd be very interested to see how well Siakam can be contained by the guys in their starting unit. But I like him against Siakam better than, say, like Langford. So it looks like Lillard is not going to be incredibly affected by this hand injury. Caruso trying to tire him out with some full court pressure. Whiteside is back with the 2 fouls for Nurkic. They leave it for Whiteside. Whiteside, rejected by AD. Now Hazonia going for the sweeping hook that failed. Caruso looking to push it. Switched onto by Simons, who has been a rare participant in the rotation in the bubble. Here's Caruso along the baseline, leaving it for Kuzma. Kuzma with the acrobatic finish.
Yeah, nice control there from Kuzma. Got the ball a little bit low and put it back up and in the basket.
Yeah, this is
Simons,
like some.
Who's going to crush Simons in these lineups? Like, Caruso's not a good enough one-on-one player to do it.
Yeah, you just when there's less spacing, if you make mistakes defensively, it doesn't matter as much. Here's Trent Kearney in the corner. His lefty floater, Whiteside, was shoved in the back as he was in inside position for the offensive rebound.
Markieff Morris just basically pushed Whiteside into the stanchion for some reason.
Yeah, clear foul on Markieff Morris. The cat is here to say hello. Let's raise the cat. He doesn't like this though. Yeah, it's one of the downsides of having to zoom in more with us doing this remotely now. We get a lot less cat cameos on the screen.
Someday, Nate. Someday.
Carmelo is back. Caruso forcing Lillard away from the screen. Takes advantage. Beautiful left-handed finish. And they're going to get AD for the foul. Tripped him from behind. Damian Lillard looking every bit as dangerous as he did in Game 1. Hey, you see what the scheme is? Caruso doesn't want him to use the screen, forces him towards the baseline. AD not there quickly enough. They weren't quite on the same page there. But the reason for that is because if he does use the screen, then you're in trouble. You got to be up by the level. So AD needs to trust Caruso to execute his part of it and force him away from the screen. LeBron is back as well. Back to goal against Trent. Carmelo coming with the help. Nice cut. Kuzma again. Whiteside rejects it, but they're going to get Simons with the foul. And Danny, you asked what the problem is with Simons. Well, the problem is that he needs to get there on that cut, and he didn't get there quickly enough.
Yeah, it's a great point. And they're showing Rondo's back problems. And I like Caruso a lot better when LeBron's out there because Caruso is actually more of an off guard offensively, and then defensively, yeah, he can defend ones, but he can't really create a lot. And so Rondo, especially with his chemistry with AD, while I don't love Rondo and I don't love him at this point in his career, he does have some potential use there that the Lakers really did miss in these first 3 games.
I would describe Caruso as more of just a neither guard. Like, he's not really good enough to have the ball as a point guard, but he also can't shoot. Oh, this is out there. Wow. Not quite as deep as that crazy one that he hit in Game 1, but that was even maybe more difficult. Then Trent got hit in the face by LeBron. Trent has bothered LeBron, Danny. We saw him pick him in the backcourt in Game 2.
Yeah. And while, that loses the possession, it's very unlikely that LeBron is going to get into foul trouble in this game. That doesn't really happen unless it's the Pacers in the conference finals.
Yeah, here's a 3 from Simons. Very quick. We didn't see what led to that, though. Trent trying to hound LeBron again. Now LeBron down the lane at Whiteside, and Whiteside didn't get there quickly enough. But you give up the blow by at half court. Good screen from Morris, and now LeBron, I think he has saw enough on film of getting pressure in the backcourt that he's going to just attack it hard. He's looked aggressive. Now Lillard bothered again by the combination of Caruso and AD. Here's LeBron leaving it for Kuzma. Easy lefty layup, and the Lakers transition. 2 quick plays in transition cut a 7-point lead to 4.
And you know that if the defender chooses LeBron in those circumstances, he's going to be able to make the pass, and Anthony Simons didn't really provide much resistance.
Blazers looking for the 2-for-1 with Simons. Switched onto by AD. Not an advantage matchup. Got to go quicker here. Takes it off the dribble. A little short. Whiteside is there. Could not get the tip, but they're going to grab Kuzma with the grab on the offensive glass. So they do get the 2-for-1, and Whiteside a chance to convert 2 free throws.
Yeah, and 30.5 is it's a really nice number there because you really, as the Lakers, can't move fast enough to get your own 2-for-1. But if the Lakers shoot at the end of the possession, Portland should still have enough time if they get a rebound or if that's a made shot to get something themselves.
Yeah, so True Hoops David Thorpe had an observation about LeBron that he doesn't look comfortable going left as much. And if you have a right groin injury, perhaps that is the reason. He claims
harder to push off.
That to push off your right foot so you can go left. I don't know if I buy that, but that's something we can maybe keep an eye on here with him. He has looked more aggressive to me attacking the rim so far. Simons trying to bother Caruso and commits an asinine foul. He's been awful.
Absolutely terrible.
And they got to find a way to get minutes for him with Gabriel. I mean, I would also say, Danny, like if you really think Gabriel is the best option, like just play him. I know he's on 2 fouls. Maybe they just felt the 2 fouls indicated that he couldn't be effective. But the Blazers definitely running out of bodies. And this is, you might say, well, Simons is a guard. What does that have to do with Zach Collins being out? Well, Zach Collins could still be replacing him. They've got other guards on the floor here. They could play Carmelo at the 3. Instead, they've been forced to play Simons, and he has unfortunately been pretty instrumental in this Lakers comeback. Missed free throw. And the Blazers should be able to get the last decent look of the half here if they play it right. We'll see who's going to come up here and screen. I wouldn't mind getting Markieff Morris involved here. They're saying, hey, go. Markieff Morris is saying, JR, you go switch instead. Here's Carmelo on the drive. Tried the acrobatic finish. Whiteside tips again, can't get it. No time for the Lakers. Oh, they just gave up the ball. Carmelo. No, it drops off.
Yeah, AD, it looked like he was kind of trying to draw a foul there and just doesn't get it, and Blazers had a little bit of a chance there. But I don't think AD got fouled in any way, shape, or form. So good no call.
So let's take stock here of what happened in this first quarter.
Definitely a rock fight in terms of offensive rating. 1 point per possession for Portland, an 89 offensive rating for the Lakers. Both teams below 55% true shooting, and a lot of turnovers for the Lakers. Lakers turned it over 5 times, but since that was that's about 18% of their possessions.
Well, let's take a few questions here since we got some time.
Yeah, you have to get used to how much longer these breaks are. What do you guys think of potentially starting Anthony Davis at center and Kuzma at the 4? Well, I think if LeBron's, so it'd be LeBron and Kuzma at the forward positions, however you define it, defensive linemen. I think that's okay. The challenge there, though, becomes that you don't have, then you're probably playing your center lineups when Portland is going smaller. And also they don't have enough wings to do that all the time. That might be their best 5, but it's not, you can't play that 35 minutes a game because you run into all these other issues.
Yeah, maybe that's so. I still like their depth among smaller players better than the Blazers.
That's an interesting point. Yeah, you might be true.
If you're going to say we're going to force them to play Anthony Simons more, that's probably a good thing for you.
Yeah.
And it also, I think it's just a better theory for them to score as well. I don't know if you want this to be a rock fight necessarily on your offensive end.
From Antoine D, is there any chance that the NBA restart will provide a way to better estimate the statistical value of home court advantage? Yeah, absolutely. I think that it'll be people that are better at modeling and stats than I am, because you're going to have to calibrate based on team quality, and that can be very difficult. But yeah, I think we're going to get a lot of information about that over the course of these series. And something that you and I posited is that game threes in particular would be really telling, because usually that would be the worst seed getting home games finally, and now those are just more neutral site games. Though we did see OKC, they ended up winning today in what would have been their home game, but that didn't happen for the Magic, and it didn't happen for the Heat, and then we'll see what happens in the Sunday games.
What else we got here?
What from Wario Zonia? Why are coaches hesitant to run smaller lineups? OKC, for instance, finally ran a non-traditional center lineup in today's game. I I mean, we've talked before about the idea that coaches are sometimes risk averse. Like, you hear this happens in the NFL all the time. It's like it's better to go for the field goal and miss it for in terms of like people calling for your job than it is to go aggressively and have it blow up in your face. But I think some of it is also just that coaches are fundamentally conservative in that respect.
Yeah, it's so hilarious to me of just what the definition is of playing it safe versus not, right? Like, I think, when you think of something as like it's too risky, think of it also of, well, what are the risks if I don't do this?
Yeah.
Right? Like, I think you need to look at the risks of both sides. Like, not making a move, well, the risk is that you're going to continue to struggle in the same ways that you struggle. So J.R. Smith is in. Simons. This is a little LeBron Smith pick and roll, but Smith can't get it in the corner. Simons was engaged defensively. If I'm the Blazers, I'm going to make J.R. Smith hit some shots. And there's CJ stepping back on Kyle Kuzma early. These critical minutes, of course, with LeBron on the floor and Dame off the floor to get a three to start that off is really important. Trent getting through the Howard screen. LeBron into the lane, goes through three guys, misses the layup. No, he's fouled and one. Count it. It drops in. Carmelo, with ineffective help, just got him right across the arm. Carmelo Anthony has been a more engaged help defender, but watch him here come in from the left. You either got to get your body in front of him or not. LeBron James is going to just go right through your arm in that situation, even if he did kind of get pretty close to the ball. Really hard for the referee to see that.
It's just not a risk worth taking.
Yeah.
Like there are a lot of times where you could do the right, quote unquote, the right thing, and you're still not going to get the call. And I think sometimes players they don't play the refs in that respect. Kind of think about how it would be to officiate, and like where you put your hands is very important.
Yeah, if you take a big swing at the ball like that, yeah, you might hit all ball, but it's very difficult for the referee to see that, and he sees you take a big swing. Carmelo at the elbow against Morris. Oh, he committed an illegal screen. Yeah, they're going to call this, right? No?
No, they're calling it a defensive foul.
Let me see this again. Yeah, I don't know. I thought he pivoted right into the path of J.R. Smith.
Yeah, we saw
pantomiming that.
We saw Joel Embiid get called for that yesterday, and it was the correct call then and the incorrect call now.
Smith against McCollum. Morris in pick and roll defense. McCollum, Carmelo had the roll to the basket, didn't take it. Now he's going to have to create one-on-one against Smith. Gets to the elbow, misses the jumper. Good rebound from James. He'll look to push it. Trent picking him up high. James feeling it deep. Oh, yeah. LeBron James stepping to his left. That's how he's comfortable shooting that jump shot. But I think that's the right way to play it if you're Gary Trent.
I agree.
LeBron has been killing you at the rim so far. Make him hit a couple of threes. McCollum over Markieff Morris. So they've gone right back to that same pick and roll again with Markieff Morris rather than Dwight Howard defending. That means that if you try to get out there on CJ, Carmelo can make a play instead of it being Whiteside. And I actually think that Morris is a worse pick and roll defender than Dwight Howard as well. LeBron wants it back. Oh, he's going to get the offensive foul. I mean, Gary Trent, his effort level in the bubble has been absolutely fantastic. He's just always there. And LeBron, at 35 years of age, he doesn't want to have to work hard for every catch. He doesn't want to have to dribble the ball up against pressure every time. He wants to just clinically manage the game. He doesn't want to have to make these extra efforts. And much like James Harden, as McCollum gets a nice drive here out of that same action. Again, he blew by JR, and they're going to have to come up with a solution for that. But much like James Harden, LeBron doesn't want to have to just fight hard on every possession. Here's JR going to the high floater. Oh, Howard with the big dunk, but he blew it. And I think they're going to get a foul here on him. Or an offensive goaltend for hanging on the rim on the missed dunk. Yeah, that's what I think it's going to be.
Yeah, that in some ways is unfortunate for the Lakers if that's what the call was, because they could have had at least some sort of transition there.
So they got to come up with a new plan here. Markieff Morris and J.R. Smith cannot guard this McCollum-Carmelo pick and roll. And actually, yeah, it was a foul. Howard will shoot free throws. Sorry about that.
Yeah, and that is Hassan Whiteside's third.
Yeah, probably about time for Nurkic to return in any event. Howard shooting it from 18 feet rather than 15. You legally can shoot it anywhere within that half circle.
Channeling Nick Van Exel.
Got a nice comment on Twitter. Thanks to Alexander330. He said he muted Jackson and JVG. Listening to us for the first time. My life has changed. I hope so, my friend.
Yeah.
Keep joining us, please.
And you can check out our schedule. We're getting better about posting that.
So now it's Kuzma guarding McCollum instead, and that leaves Simons wide open for the spot up three. Simons, when we did the workup on him for our pod, he's much better shooter off the dribble than as a spot up guy statistically. Now James, he's just going to get collared by Nurkic, and that's Trent just wasn't quite there. They set the screen early, and that's the danger of trying to pressure up. And I'm sure LeBron is acting like he has really looked at film on this to see where he can get the advantage. So a couple of times when Trent has pressured him, he's just like, oh, really? Do you want to try to beat me in a full court sprint to the basket? And then they add in that screen at half court. I don't like that foul for Nurkic, though. That's good. I think it's going to come back and haunt him. You got to just let him go there if you're Nurkic. They don't have anyone else.
Yeah, especially with Whiteside having it, and that's only Nurkic's first, but he can pick up fouls. He can pick up fouls in series.
We'll see. I think he's going to be in foul trouble at some point.
I agree.
It always seems to happen that way. We'll see. Maybe it's wrong, but LeBron more missed free throws. The Lakers now 20 free throw attempts, but they've made a mere 10.
Oof.
Trent screening away from McCollum. Howard took it away from Nurkic. He's been active, but they run down Kuzma, and he loses it off his leg.
Yeah, Gary Trent hustled back, and I think Gary Trent kind of got his hand in the works, and then Kuzma bounced it off his own foot.
Portland surviving the minutes with Lillard on the bench. Howard pressuring up on Nurkic so they can't run their offense as well. Good D. Here's a deep three from McCollum, and he knew that he airballed it immediately. Yeah, CJ not quite as good on those moving jumpers a couple of steps beyond the line as his backcourt mate Lillard.
And so now Danny Green's back on the court. I haven't seen exactly what this Lakers lineup is going to be because we're only at half screen.
Yeah, we still have JR on the floor. Markieff Morris at the 4. I don't really understand why he's playing much, to be honest. They'll leave it for Howard. Nurkic almost got the foul, but he blocked him instead. LeBron clearing out space. And, yep, there's number 2 on Yusuf Nurkic. LeBron James, this is the most energy I've seen from him offensively in the bubble so far.
Yeah, and it's made a huge difference for the Lakers. They really lacked a lot offensively, and he should have created an assist originally, but instead he gets to the line for 2 free throws and a second foul on Nurkic.
Yeah, I mean, and Yusuf Nurkic goes about 6'11", 275, and LeBron James muscled him out of the way on that one. So now LeBron needs to actually hit some free throws. He's up to 16 points here now, though I might be a little ahead of us here as I look at the box score. Yeah, there it is. So most aggressive scoring half already in the bubble, I think, for James as well. Pick and roll. Now they get it back to Nurkic to try and play through Simons. Good denial by Smith on that. Now Nurkic with the pass to Carmelo. One-on-one against Markieff late in the clock. Nothing going on here at all. Carmelo with an impossible fader. Great defense by the Lakers. And to me, that all starts, Danny, with the pressure Howard is putting on Nurkic out top.
Agreed.
LeBron deep. way short. Nurkic on the board. Simon's getting ample run here. Here's the drive from McCollum, way short though. LeBron looks to push against Trent once more. Blazers are back though. Everyone looking a little bit ragged here before the timeout. Here's Morris attacking McCollum. Gets it back to Howard. Not a threat from there. 8 on the clock for LeBron in the post against Trent. Double comes from Simons, who gets the steal. Good defense from Trent as well. Here's Carmelo attacking. Lays it up. Gets his own board. He's one of the best at that.
And there just aren't that many fast players on the floor right now. You can see that the Blazers weren't moving particularly hard there. Melo still gets his own offensive rebound and gets the completion.
All right, well, 39-35 here at this break. LeBron, 16 points, but already has 5 turnovers. 5 of the Lakers' 8 turnovers. Lillard, no doubt, will return after a nice 5-minute break with things going okay. That should position him to play a lot of minutes in the second half, you would think. McCollum with 15, Lillard with 14, rest of team 10. Let's tell the people about bookies.com here before we take some questions.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you are over 21, go to bookies.com/NBA. You can go to the other pages if you're interested in that. For live odds, I love that it is a live updating page. That way you don't have to click refresh, don't have to get any of that. The expert picks are there and the best online sign-up deals. So whether you're playing whether you're playing spreads, money lines, totals, or parlays, it's all right there. It's very easy to use, and you can get into their picks if that's what you're looking for.
Yeah, and you can also click through to live betting options, to non-live betting options. They have a ton of those that give you the best deals in your state, and of course they update all of that live as well. So, questions times. Do you think a potential Brett Brown firing is justifiable? Asks the other Darius.
Yes, I do. I think that the general concept for me should be that if you it seems relatively clear that a coach isn't a value add or that you're unsure, I think those coaches should be moved on from more quickly. It's extreme because Dwayne Casey, I think, does a lot of things well, but like the dream is the Dwayne Casey, Nick Nurse situation where you have a good coach, but not a great coach, and then you end up with the best coach in the NBA. And a lot of times with assistants, we don't necessarily know that. It's not a fait accompli. And so with Brett Brown, I think he is somewhat getting a raw deal due to their personnel, but I also don't think he's a top 5, top 10 coach in the league. So yes, move on, try somebody else.
Yeah, and I mean, the front office has left it so that they don't really have much flexibility to change the personnel mix. They threw a lot of resources at this team in terms of money, draft picks, etc., young prospects. And so now that's the only thing left to change. And I do think that they should do that at this point in time. But I also don't think that Brett Brown, quote unquote, deserves to be fired in the way that, say, like a Jason Kidd did. But sometimes, as we talked about with coaches, it's not necessarily about deserve. It's about whether you think an upgrade could be possible. And, I think they don't necessarily have a crazy chance of succeeding in upgrading from Brett Brown.
I think that's true.
It's you got to take the chance and hope that you can.
Somebody asked if we could just do Weber games. I mean, we don't know the schedule well enough, and it's really about what games interest us. That's really where this goes, and so it's not about who the broadcasters are. Thank you to it's Kevin in the middle and then a bunch of consonants around that for signing up with Twitch Prime. There are a lot of ways that you can support us now, which I think is great. But one of them is if you have Amazon Prime and you have Twitch, you can connect those two accounts and you get a free subscription. And if you do that, then it doesn't cost you anything and it helps us out. So that's something you can do. And of course, Dunked on Prime and Patreon still going on as well. We actually already released our analysis of the first 2 games on Saturday. That's already out for Dunked on Prime people, and it will be out for everybody else as a part of our normal podcast on Sunday night.
Cross screen for Davis underneath. He's being guarded by Carmelo now in the 2 big alignment for the Lakers. Carmelo fighting with him. This is too late in the clock to get it to your primary option on the play. Danny Green as they double team. And, Lillard comes with the double team there. McCollum got distracted. I think he's got to make that rotation faster to Danny Green late in the clock. You got to force him to make another pass. You can't give him the easiest pass on the floor late in the clock. Now they totally miscommunicate between Davis and Dwight. That should probably just be a switch right there. And Davis couldn't get through the screen at all. I think they never, it wasn't really a miscommunication. Davis was just supposed to get through the screen. He didn't even come close. Now KCP will draw the foul on the ever-eager Simons.
And while that's not a 3-shot foul, rip-throughs aren't shooting fouls because the Lakers got into the bonus at like the 8:30 mark of the second quarter. It is free throws anyway.
Yeah. Now Simons does at least shoot the ball. He is at least going to get guarded a little bit. So he adds that element, but he has done little defensively or in terms of actually making shots. And I think they're still going to keep talking to him here. So they've got Simons at the 3 right now. Is Hazonia hurt? Like, I mean, honestly, I would probably rather go with Hazonia than Anthony Simons
has mostly been terrible in this game.
McCollum, who's had the hot hand. If I'm the Blazers, I'm a little worried because Lillard and McCollum are going great, and they're only up 2. Carmelo finding Lillard. No, nice backdoor, and the stop is made by the Lakers, but a foul. Let's see what happened on this one. Danny Green with weak side help. I think Danny Green got him across the arm. He'll raise his hand at least.
Yeah, and it's always a little bit amusing to me when there's some of that like small guy does it to protect the big guy, but Danny Green's a better player than Dwight Howard, so you'd kind of rather have Dwight get the foul.
Yeah, I think it was clearly Green who created it.
He caught him on the arm. It's the right call.
So, and really nice pass by Carmelo, too. He knew that everyone was panicked about Lillard coming off of that screen, and he slipped it backdoor to Nurkic instead.
And Nate McMillan might be in a cold sweat because the Lakers already have 23 free throw attempts, putting them on pace to surpass what Miami had in their Game 3.
The Pacers really did foul them a lot, though, honestly.
Yeah, they did.
Now AD back facing up on Carmelo. Help coming. Carmelo cuts him off nicely. And a terrible pass. They had no spacing on that, though. Here's Simons. He'll try and finish over Green. Cannot. And Caruso knocks it out of bounds. I thought he went over the back of McCollum, but no foul was called. Yeah, Simons, again, unable to finish that one. Danny Green, the transition defense worked that time. So let's watch this again here. Like, where are the Lakers standing? Like, Caruso is going to run into the lane. Like, there's no one for him to throw it to on the double team. Baseline, Lillard. Oh, he created space beautifully and then ducked away from the baseline so he could kiss it off the glass.
Gorgeous.
6-point Blazer advantage. AD will set the screen. They'll just switch this with Caruso not a threat against Carmelo. Now AD is a threat against Simons. Goes right through him, and that's a third on Nurkic.
And again, that early foul, and especially when LeBron was already it was already guaranteed that it was going to be free throws if he watch
the replay on this. We may not see it from this angle. Oh, maybe they're going to get McCollum on it first.
Yeah,
instead of Nurkic.
McCollum did foul him first.
Yeah, but AD, great job there. He knows he can take Simons, and he saw Nurkic under the lane, and then he tried to cleanse. He tried to 2.9, and so what you do is right as that guy starts moving away, before he even gets to being out of the lane, you start your drive while he's still moving away from the 3-second area, and that's why Nurkic was late on the help, because he timed his drive perfectly.
And maybe the best example of that ever was AD's current teammate LeBron James back when they played the Atlanta Hawks. I think that was in the conference finals. And Al Horford was 2.9ing all the time, and LeBron was timing him up for all these drives.
Still another 1 out of 2 free throws. AD uncharacteristically failing here at the line. They'll switch this. McCollum stepping back to his right. Offensive glass, they can't get that. KCP looking to push it. Throws it way ahead to AD, and Simons did well to interrupt it that time.
Yeah, and also that was a pretty bad pass from KCP. AD has a wonderful catch radius, but it was not in that.
Simons remains on the floor. He is getting the tick over Hazonia. They haven't been able to go back to the 2 center group yet either. Lillard stepping back in the isolation against Caruso. And once again, like they've tried this like post-up ISO for Dame on Caruso a couple times. I want Dame just out on the floor in the middle of the floor as Green is going to get the wide open three and miss it right under AD, and he dunks it on the head of Whiteside.
And that's 2 times now that Dwight Howard has tipped a rebound instead of grabbing it himself directly to a teammate. That one on the offensive end, right to AD. I hope he gets an assist for that because he should.
Yeah, again, as I was saying before, I'd like to see Lillard up top in the ISO against Caruso. Here's Melo going at KCP with the size advantage. The mid-ranger has not worked well for Melo. He's been better as a spot-up three-point threat. KCP eluding Lillard with the fake. Simons can't get the rebound, though. It's right back to KCP down the lane, trying to score on Whiteside. Whiteside almost committed the foul. I'm not sure he was vertical there. Here's Lillard. AD can't bother him, and he drains the easy spot up. Great job by McCollum. He had his own shot, but Lillard, the hottest guy on the planet, was open even more than he was.
And an old NBA cast hallmark, missed layup, easy shot on the other end.
Nice pocket pass from Caruso to AD. Melo walls up well. And what are they going to get? Offensive foul
Push
here.
off on Dwight.
Yep.
Yeah, Dwight just straight up shoved Hassan Whiteside. It's the second time Hassan Whiteside just gotten shoved for not a particularly strong reason.
Yeah, but that started with good defense by Carmelo.
Absolutely. And worth noting, they did give that foul to Nurkic, so that was his third. That's why Hassan Whiteside is in instead of Nurkic, is because him getting his fourth is less consequential.
Yeah, good call. A little hard for us to see that with no sound. We're muted here, just like you are with the game sounds.
And certain broadcasts don't show who they assigned a foul to, which is something I wish they all did.
All right, well, we can discuss some more questions here as we go into the break. I'll just catch you up quickly on the shot charts before that, though. Blazers have gotten little at the rim, 4 of 10, 1 of 7 for mid-range. So a lot of that has been Carmelo and CJ haven't been able to get it going there. But 8 of 20 from 3, all of those above the break. They have not been creating those corner 3 looks that we saw so often from Melo and Trent. And the Lakers, 9 of 14 at the rim, and the characteristic poor jump shooting. They have been most effective at the foul line, but missed free throws only 56% on their 25 free throw attempts for the Lakers. That's why this is a 6-point Portland lead right now.
Yeah, it's a great point. Okay. How good would... Oh, that's a good one from Glenn Simonson, longtime friend of the show. How good would the Sixers be if they had not let Hinkie go? I think this is one of the greater misconceptions that happens due to the timing, is there was this idea that all Hinkie was a demolition artist. And I vehemently disagree. Generally, to me, unlike coaches, general managers who are good at one part are good at multiple parts. He just never got the opportunity to turn those assets into something else. You know, all those second-round picks and everything, all the extra firsts. And I think they would be in a much, much better place. I don't think they would have done the Tobias Harris trade. Maybe they still do something similar to the Markelle Fultz trade, but they don't give up everything because Colangelo and Elton Brand and Brett Brown were all more willing to throw the chips in, whether or not it was worth it.
Well, and also think of what Hinkie's philosophy was in doing what he did, right? His philosophy is superstars win. That's why we're going to maximize our chances in the draft to get as many superstars as possible. So maybe he would have done something along the lines of the Fultz trade, thinking that he could have been a superstar. You know, I don't know what his scouting thoughts were on that draft class necessarily, but I can guarantee you that Sam Hinkie would not have traded for Tobias Harris to give him a max contract. Like, he has an understanding that it's about superstars and it's about rookies as far as the value. And Tobias Harris is way overpaid just because there's excess in the system, right? Like, there isn't enough money to pay, or because of the max system, you can't pay certain guys who are worth more than the max that, and so there's extra money, and that goes to the guys who aren't rookies and aren't like true max players. So I think if he had all these assets, he would have just probably continued using them to get more bites at the apple for good young players, of which they have few now, or he would have really saved everything for a true superstar, not necessarily a Tobias Harris type.
From Zach Schnecker on Periscope, can Miami beat the Bucks? Yes, I think they can. I wouldn't expect it. They're definitely my underdogs in the series. Seth Partnow and I actually talked about that a little bit for Real Jam Radio this week. We were going to do all 8 series, but we kind of saw where the East was going, so we did a little bit of an early East second round preview, and we talked about that for 5-10 minutes about the specific like the shooting and some of the other elements that Miami has that could be very difficult for the Bucks.
Yeah, we're seeing the Davis blunder montage here so far. 6-point Blazers lead. They'll screen away here for Carmelo, involving LeBron in pick and roll. LeBron is out there. They'll just switch that. Davis trying to come over for some help. Oh, a Dame tried to dunk it on Davis, and Davis rejects him. Here's LeBron, backdoor Caruso, easy layup.
That pass was really nice, and I mean to get the speed and the pacing on that, he saw Caruso from a mile and a half and just went, okay, here's how I get him the ball.
Same play again on the left side of the floor. Good job by Caruso getting through. McCollum, tough fader over Davis. What a shot. That's one the Lakers, I think, can live with, though.
If it's over Davis, yeah, absolutely.
They want to post up LeBron here? No, he'll just have him hang out. Yeah, now he comes to the near side. Oh, that's nice. Really nice there. That's where LeBron James, if he wants to use his size advantage on Trent, those hard post-ups right at the charge circle, Gary Trent cannot deal with that.
And LeBron didn't extend his arm enough to like draw it out to create an offensive foul. So yeah, beautiful.
There's
work by
Trent
him there.
with the mid-ranger, and is this going to be an and one for Gary Trent?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I guess Davis got him as he was bringing the ball up, and AD has done some things defensively, struggling on offense. Ben Taylor said that he thought he looked a little bit heavy. Do you agree with that?
I don't think he's looked like he's been moving a little bit weird, but I don't know that's been heavy. I think he just looked a little bit off.
It's tough to see with the T-shirt that he wears.
Yeah, that's true.
It's not something I've looked at that closely, but he definitely has not been able to create his own offense particularly well. Trent cashes out the 3-point play. 7-point game now. And I think the Blazers, if they can go in with this type of lead, will be pretty happy. Gabriel is back with the 2 fouls. Caruso backdoor, and that's going to be a foul on Carmelo.
And Carmelo Anthony now joins the 3-foul club with Hassan Whiteside and Yusuf Nurkic. And Anthony Simons.
There's that dunk attempt by Dame. He had a huge jam in the play-in game, but trying to just put it on AD like that's not going to work. Caruso as the Lakers well into the bonus.
And we'll see what the Blazers go to try to get an advantage in offense. They haven't really had like great, let's call it, process in the last few minutes. Haven't really generated a ton, though they've made a few of those looks and the Trent foul.
I mean, they're not getting the same level of defensive attention for Lillard that's opening up all the other stuff the way you saw before they started playing the Lakers. Melo finding Lillard. Back to Melo. Didn't have his feet set, though. Now he's going to try Kuzma. Not really an advantage matchup. Goes to the step back. Great help from AD, and that's an excellent defensive possession for the Blazers. They're going with Gabriel at center with both of their traditional centers on 3 fouls. Davis trying to post up. Terrible pass from Caruso. Should have thrown that way earlier. McCollum getting past Green for the 3. Missed that.
See, the Sixers aren't the only team with guards that can't throw entry passes.
LeBron could throw an entry pass, though. Trent continuing to hound him. LeBron goes to that left-to-right spin over Gabriel, and that's one where if you've been in the league a while, you know LeBron coming down the lane likes that left-to-right spin. Gabriel has not been in the league for a while. Now it's Lillard, stripped by Caruso coming off the strong side corner. Melo had not spaced out. Melo was like trying to post up here instead of spacing out to the corner. Here's Green, stopped by Gabriel that time. LeBron is fouled. He just tripped over his own guy, Danny Green.
Well,
no,
it's
Trent
hard, though,
shoved
because
him.
Trent had his arms out. Yeah. So. And remember we were talking about the Blazers were up, I believe, was 7, and said, hey, if they can have this kind of lead in halftime, they'll feel really good. And now it's down to 3, and LeBron's gonna be shooting free throws.
Yeah, good call there. The foul took place by Trent before LeBron tripped over Green. LeBron James already up to 20 points, and his level of aggression has been outstanding here. Despite the Lakers, of course, on a mere 3 of 12 three-point shooting once more. But LeBron he just hasn't cared. I think he's only taken one jump shot in this game. That was a three that he made. Oh no, he's missed two threes or missed taken two threes, missed one. And now
That's Lakers'
Caruso,
fault.
yeah, just bothering and Gabriel with a horrendous turnover. I mean, what's he doing? Like, first of all, it's a violation to hand the ball in bounds like that. Now Lillard can do a better job of getting open, certainly, but you got to be smarter than that if you're Gabriel. Kuzma, they've run too many of these mid-rangers for him on like a floating 15-footer, but now he gets a better look for three. Way off, though. Kuzma has not had the touch in the last few games.
And the Blazers, just in that kind of scramble, had no idea who they were guarding.
They want to go back here. No, I just, yeah, let Dame just ISO here, and immediately they force help, and they get a wide open three in the corner. Let Dame just go back to that against Caruso. No reason to bring help by setting a screen. Davis was trying to post up on Gabriel. Here's LeBron down the lane. Good verticality from Gabriel, but someone got a foul. They're going to say Trent. Didn't see that one particularly.
I didn't either. Trent, I believe that's his second, so he's
Let's
not.
watch it here. No, that's not a foul.
No. And the funny thing is, the Lakers ended up with the two anyway. I mean, you could argue that with the whistle, maybe everybody didn't go up like AD did. So I believe that is the 30th free throw attempt of the first half for the Lakers. They're about to have 31.
Yeah, ball don't lie on that miss, though, from LeBron. Rasheed Wallace is pleased.
Yeah.
Second free throw from LeBron James. Missed that one, too. Nice job by McCollum tracking back for the board. About a 9-second differential. Blazers not in much hurry. They want to involve KCP in the screening action here. Caruso trying to take Dame away. He gets out of that ice coverage so quickly. Now Lillard going at KCP. Tried to get it to the corner to Melo, but a blocking foul is called on Anthony Davis. I think they're going to say this is on the pass off and Portland not in the bonus, but that will reset for the last shot of the quarter. Yeah, clear blocking foul on AD that time.
And remember, it's about when the guy goes up for the jump, and AD clearly was not set when Lillard went up.
Yeah, nor was he in his path.
Yes. And remember, it's the path of the jump, not the path between the player and the basket.
So, nightmare first half for AD. That's his third foul. He'll go out. They're actually playing Markieff Morris at center at the end. Let's see what happens here. KCP's going to try and help. Simons will drive it. Drive and kick. McCollum getting past Green. Blazers have been so good with those quick pass fakes with guys on out-of-control closeouts, and the Blazers extend to a 4-point halftime lead. And, Danny, I think they've got something here with this Dame isolating against Caruso and forcing help rather than involving someone with a screen.
And something that we've seen in other individual games and series before is that when a team can only really defend something one way, then you can start to figure out the wrinkles and the nuance there. And if they're just going to start sending doubles, it's going to be easy for Portland. They have enough offensive players to find something here. And this, despite the made three at the end, this was a very defensive or an ineffective offensive first half, depending on how you want to quantify it. 57 points on 55 possessions for the Blazers, 53 points on 54 possessions for the Lakers.
Yeah, extremely fast pace first half. And we're going to take a quick break here, about 10 minutes or so, and we will be back to talk about the second half and take some questions, maybe about 5 minutes before the beginning of the half. All right, welcome back from that halftime break. Blazers leading it 57-53, which despite the relatively high score was a bit of a rock fight. Super high pace in this one as well, with the Lakers under a point per possession once more. And that's the case despite a dominant half from LeBron James, 22 points in 17 minutes. Did have 5 turnovers, but overall, this is the level of aggression we wanted to see. He took 12 free throw attempts there. Anthony Davis, 4 of 9 from the foul line, only 3 field goal attempts. Did have 2 steals and 2 blocks, but any thoughts on what ails him offensively, Danny?
I think some of it has been that he hasn't gotten out as much in transition. That was actually his,